This episode of Blockchain 360 is only made possible by listeners like you. If you listen to this show on your Apple podcast app, remember to give us a review. Every review helps more people find the show and join our amazing community. For more information about this episode or for easy access to related programming, visit our website at blockchain360.co and subscribe to our free email list. Enjoy this episode.
This is the Blockchain 360 podcast. Blockchain 360 is a podcast of interviews and discussions about the current state and direction of blockchain. Thank you for joining us today. If this is your first time listening, then thank you for coming. The Blockchain 360 podcast is produced weekly for your enjoyment, and show notes are found at our website, blockchain360.co. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow us on Twitter at Blockchain360. All links discussed today are included in the show notes.
Hi, my name is Brian Nielsen, and I am your host here on Blockchain 360, where we talk about everything blockchain. My guest today is Robert Beetles, the president of Monarch, a cryptocurrency company that combines multiple blockchain services into one easy-to-use application. As a cryptocurrency entrepreneur, investor, philanthropist, and educator, Robert has gained a following of over 85,000 people on his YouTube channel, Crypto Beadles. He's interviewed countless founders in the crypto industry on his YouTube channel, and he has started to realize that there is a serious need in the marketplace for an easy-to-use decentralized wallet. The Monarch community has grown to over 270,000 users, and the company is focused on delivering products that make cryptocurrencies accessible to all. Now, Robert, some of the things that I've found very fascinating about you is that you ran for the 11th Congressional District in California. Can you tell me why you did that?
Well, I don't know that I would say that I ran for it, but, I definitely kind of weighed in on it and thought about doing it. And basically it was because, a lot of people asked me to do it. We have a sitting congressman that's, been in this area for a really long time. And, a lot of people aren't happy with, the way he does things. And so enough people spoke up and asked me to do it. So I kind of weighed in, thought about doing it, realized very quickly that I'm not a politician, that it's not for me. And I'm a lot more suited to help good people get into office rather than be the guy that gets into office himself. So that was something back in 2010, like I said, we just kind of dipped my toe in the water, so to speak. I think we probably could have gone all the way if we wanted to, but ended up putting another person, helping another person, win instead. So, yeah. Congress
No, I just find it fascinating because, you're not the first person that I've interviewed where they've had a political run as part of their background. And so when I found out about that, I thought this is really fascinating. I really wanted to start quickly with that. But I think you have a bigger story to tell. So can you tell me a little bit about your life and your background and what has brought you to this moment?
Sure. I'm a Christian father, husband. I've been with my wife since we were 14 years old. So childhood sweethearts, high school sweethearts, all that kind of stuff. Got married at 17 years old with our first son. I have another son as well. I thought about going into the military, but found out that we were pregnant with Aaron, our oldest son, and so I basically just got into construction. I'd already had a little bit of a construction background, growing up, doing a lot of work, learning the trade for free, and so it made sense for me just to go into construction and to work for another company and build that company up. And that's what I did. And then one day the owner and I got into it. He's manic depressive, schizophrenic, bipolar. So you can imagine how much fun a guy like that can be to work with. But when you're working, to provide for your family, you have to kind of put up with tough stuff, as a lot of people in the U.S. do and all over the world do. And anyways, I left and I created my own construction software, my own construction services company, and built it to be one of the biggest in the state. And then around 2009, I created a software company, as well as an application platform development company. And we started.
Wait. So how is it you go from having one of the largest construction companies in California to saying, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to start a software development firm.
Well, what I left out is I've always been a little bit nerdy and geeky and techie when it comes to computers and software, and so that was one of the things that I've always loved to do. But it didn't make sense at the time to go that route, living in the valley. So I went the construction route. After we built up the construction service company and was able to kind of hand it off to other incredible people to run it. It made sense for me to be able to do something that I really love to do, which was, creating things, whether it's a software application or whether it's a platform or whether it's inventing some cool thing that is in stores around the world. That's the kind of stuff that I like to do. I like to be creative and build things. And so in 2009, that's what I did. We created Splash Factory, a software development company that basically was created just to build projects for the United States Post Office. So we did a lot of stuff with them. And then around 2011, this guy named Max Kaiser, he comes out and he starts talking about how, the whole global crisis, everything that we've seen, this meltdown is all due to the Fed. It's due to, big businesses and corporations and financial institutions. And basically there's this thing called Bitcoin, and it can save the day and keep this from ever happening again. So, I'd listened to Max for years. And so I, dug more into this Bitcoin thing that he was talking about, got bit by the bug. And then from 2011 forward, I've just been, learning as much as I possibly can about blockchain, building blockchain projects, have a TV show, have a podcast, I'm the face of TradingView sessions on TradingView. We have a YouTube channel. Basically, we just try to get people into crypto. I always give away $100 of crypto and Bitcoin Cash, actually, on every one of our YouTube videos, just to kind of help people get into the space. And if you want me to talk more about any of those specific little areas, just let me know. I'll just quit rambling for a second.
No. So, I mean, you have, of course, this interesting background in construction, and then you moved over to the software development. And you said that you were building out products for the U.S. Postal Service. What kind of products were you building for the U.S. Postal Service?
Sure. So we're under NDA with a lot of stuff that we've done for them, but some of the things, that I can briefly touch on is like tracking packages, creating the application that would allow you to track, something, from A to
Sure.
B, be able to
Right.
find it in a lot of time, be able to track, not only where it's at, but what kind of trip it's had along the way, and all the different sensors and things like that would report back to the user and tell them, exactly where it's at and what the environment is and all that kind of stuff. So that's one of the things that is out there I can discuss.
Now, I also know that you have authored a book that's called "Here's What You Do: Your Economic Survival Guide." You published that in 2009. How is it that you even decided to write the book, and why is it you picked that particular topic to write about?
Sure. So, a lot of friends, a lot of family, they had saw how we went from basically, welfare and food stamps to being quite well off. So, I mean, obviously you got the grace of God and a lot of hard work, but they kept asking me, what's the secret? How do we, become rich? How do we become, successful? How do we, be able to get out of our, our daily grind, right? So, I basically just wrote a book and told them, here's what you do. So that way they could, if they so, chose, if they wanted to learn how to be, financially free, they could, take my, my advice in there, my lessons that I had learned, and maybe apply it to themselves and allow them to become financially successful and independent as well.
You've taken on a very big role in terms of sharing what your knowledge and the wealth of experience that you can bring and perspective to other people. So you also have these other media platforms that you've mentioned. One of them, of course, though, is your Crypto Beadles. Tell us a little bit how that came about, why you still do it, and what other media properties are you actually still promoting?
Sure. So when I got in blockchain, around 2011, everybody that was close to me knew that, I love blockchain, love Bitcoin. And around 2017, it seemed like everybody wanted to get into crypto and blockchain, mostly just for speculation. And so they kept hitting me up, asking me the same questions, kind of over and over again. And a lot of my friends told me, hey, man, why don't you just do a video, explain to us all the basics, what we need to know. That way we don't have to keep answering the same questions thousands of times. So that's what I did. I basically just created a couple videos that explained to people, just the basic nuances of crypto, how to store it, send it, receive it, where to buy it, all that kind of stuff. But they ended up loving it, and they kept asking me to do more and more. And so it's just myself and my son. That's it. That does the Crypto Beadles, channel. It's just something we do to kind of give back, and something we do just kind of for fun for the two of us to do things together. And yeah, it just kind of took off. They kept asking us to cover different projects, to interview different CEOs, different founders. And so that's what we've done. We've probably interviewed over 1,000 people, probably only published, maybe 500 of the videos. Some of them, when you talk to people, you quickly realize they're just full of crap, or they're just a straight scam. There's no way that I'm going to introduce them, to the
Right.
community, to the family. So those videos just get lost in space, right? Those things
Right.
go straight to the delete folder, right? And because
No,
there's
there's a term we use. It's called, "Oh, the files got corrupted." So
yeah, exactly. So, anyways, with Crypto Beadles, it's our YouTube channel where we bring the founders and CEOs of different projects onto the channel, so that way the community can see if they want to learn more. But it's never investment advice. We never do any of these pump and dump things. We never recommend buying or selling of anything. We actually give away $100 of Bitcoin Cash on every single one of our videos, so that way people can start getting into cryptocurrency on my dime. And then also, being the co-founder and builder of Monarch, it's kind of cool that a lot of these people, they actually use the Monarch Wallet as well. And so when they receive that $100, it usually goes in the Monarch Wallet, and then we'll get some videos and photos of different people from all over the world, using the Bitcoin Cash to pay for goods and services, and just help with life. And so it's kind of rewarding, and it's kind of cool to kind of see that what we do that actually comes back to us via video or photo, and just kind of, I don't know, it just reinforces why we do what we do, and how God's great, and now we're able to give back, and I don't know, we just keep doing it.
right. Now, you've mentioned your company, Monarch. What was the genesis of you wanting to create a crypto wallet to help people?
So I met a guy named Snaybot. He's the co-founder of Monarch sometime in 2017. I want to say it was like maybe May, or I'm not sure exactly when. Him and Sam, and I'd already been talking to so many different founders and CEOs, and been in the space for a long time, and realized that there was a lot of issues with just general adoption and fundamental understanding of cryptocurrency, and just the fundamental ease of use for it. And so Snay and I were talking one day, and he said that he wanted to come up with this reoccurring payment mechanism for blockchain, and he asked if I wanted to be a part of it. I said, well, that sounds cool and all, but if you want me a part of this, then we got to do something bigger. We have to create kind of like an all-in-one platform that would allows people into crypto, so that way they can do whatever they want with it whenever they want to do it. And so that kind of gave birth to Monarch, was creating just one simple application to access everything in crypto from one application, right?
Right.
And so that was in 17, I think. And ever since then, we've just been dropping tech. You can download it right now. It's free. You can buy and sell, send, store, receive, earn interest. What else can you do? We have a decentralized exchange, all that stuff right in the app, all from one place. You can hook it up to your bank account, all kinds of different things. It has a portfolio tracker in it. You can track the news. You control your seed and your keys. All the basic functions that you would expect, to be able to interact with cryptocurrency, you can do from there. And then we just keep adding more and more of some of the best services and the best companies in blockchain to the wallet. So that way you only need to download one app. You don't need to download 4,000 apps and have 4,000 different accounts. Just have one app, one account, and you can access all the best services, all the best products in crypto from one wallet, the Monarch Wallet. We call it a wallet, but it's more like a marketplace of sorts. So
All
that's
right.
kind of the
So,
quick and dirty.
what problems does Monarch solve that is different than other competitors of yours?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't see anybody as a competitor, to be honest, because we
Hmm.
have basically our arms are open to anybody that brings value to the space, including other wallets. That's why I said, when, it's not really just a wallet, it's more of a marketplace. So imagine if you have the best service, or you're the best company in crypto. Well, you can plug into Monarch, and then our users have access to you, and then you'll have access to our users, if our users want your services, right? So
Right.
what we do is we plug all the best and all the coolest stuff in blockchain into one application that the user can then access all of those different services and all of those different companies all from one place, the Monarch Wallet. Nobody does that. And anybody that, has tried to like integrate, a little of this, a little of that, it's not usually seamless, right? Where ours is just one login. So you access all these different services and all these different companies just from one wallet and one login. And if you need to do a KYC for like using banking or something like that, well, if you got 4,000 different services that you like or different companies that you like, you probably have to do a KYC at all 4,000 of those different places, right? But with Monarch, you would just do one. And then whatever service provider or whatever company you want to have access to your data, you would allow them to have access to the KYC as well. So that way you only have to do it one time and you can share it with anybody you want to have access, to it, and you have access to their services. So I don't know of anybody else doing this in blockchain. And this is something that, we wanted to have for people. It's just, this amazing crypto app that gives you access to all the best things of crypto and blockchain from one place.
Well, actually, I like the idea that you've consolidated the KYC into a single service that you actually allow for others to use. I think that's a very innovation. It's a good innovation to see, simply because there's been so much fragmentation within the marketplace, as you've pointed out. Now, how big is the Monarch community?
As far as the community, geez, we've got, I think close to 300,000, users. We've got, if you look at our different social media followings and things like that, I think we have over 100 and something thousand people on Facebook, probably 30 something thousand people on Telegram. I'm not sure on Twitter. I'd have to look, but we have an amazing community. And what's awesome too is, through the Crypto Beadles YouTube channel and through, Trading View and through, our TV show, it allows us to kind of create, kind of like an army of beta testers.
Yep.
And so they end up joining the Monarch community as well. And they give us direct feedback. They tell us what they like, what they love, what they hate, things that they'd want, added to it or changed. And so, the community is incredible. We have a lot of people too that, have signed up, just to earn, free crypto, or I guess it's not really free if you have to do something, right? So anyways, they can earn crypto. We had, a lot of different bounties where people could, go and, post and reshare and do things like that
Sure.
and get Monarch tokens. And so, we have a lot of that as well. And it's just, it's a great place, filled with a lot of great people. And we love them all.
How fast is it growing?
Well, in terms of, as far as
Users, yeah.
like, users, every month we have more than the month prior. It's not like Facebook numbers where they get, 2.2 or 2.7 billion users, but,
Well, at
for
one point they
blockchain,
didn't have that, so it's okay.
but, blockchain is still relatively new. And so,
Absolutely.
we're probably adding, a few thousand people a week, sometimes maybe 10,000 a week. So, it's growing, considerably, for the space,
Right.
considering blockchain. And when you look at, a lot of the projects out there, they have, next to no following. And so we're pretty blessed with a pretty awesome community that's actually growing every week.
So, what strategies are you using or have you learned about building communities in the industry? Obviously, you have your YouTube channel, or channels, I should say. Uh, but what other strategies do you deploy to help build your Monarch community?
Yeah, I guess number one would be to bring value. So if you offer something that people need, want, and they'll actually use, they tell their friends. And so we're always basically just dropping more tech every week, every month, adding more value, and then using our social media followings that we have, or TV or whatever else, to let people know that it's out there and they can use it and they can tell their friends about it. Then we have bounties and things like that where people can earn tokens. And so I think, just kind of a combination of, dropping value and also giving people an incentive, to, earn tokens and things like that, as well as provide, products and services that they're using elsewhere and they're not happy with, and we do a better job. I think it's just kind of a mix of all of that. And then, just the grace of God.
I you've mentioned this twice now, the idea of bounties. Can you explain that? So not every listener is going to be familiar with it. So it'd be very nice to know how Monarch views what a bounty is.
Yeah, basically a bounty is a reward. So it's a reward for, telling your friends about us, right? So maybe you repost one of our Twitter posts. Maybe you download the app. Maybe you, I don't know, mention us on Facebook or something like that. And that's reported back to us, and then you earn tokens for it. So it's a relatively simple bounty that, a lot of companies in crypto do. And it's something that we've been doing, for well over a year.
Okay. So, how does your perspective on decentralization shape your product development at Monarch?
So decentralization, is great, fundamentally, but as far as practically, for people, that's where I have a little different viewpoint than others. I think that your cryptocurrency, you need to be in control of it at all times. I think you need to hold your seed and your key at all times. That will never change. But I think that there needs to be kind of a trade-off between centralization and decentralization for blockchain and for crypto to ever work and to ever become a household name. If you look at things like YouTube, why do people use it? Because it's great. It's awesome. It works, right? That's why people use it. If you look at, blockchain based, dApps or, social media platforms, they suck, to be frank. They don't perform well. They have all kinds of issues. Forget about the UX and the UI. You can't post videos to them. You can't, watch videos from them well. But if you take kind of a more, I don't know, just open-minded approach, and you centralize maybe the videos, so that way all the bulky media is on a centralized AWS server, but all the important stuff like your subscribers, your fans, your personal data, that stuff is decentralized. I think that's where we need to go as a whole in blockchain and crypto for it to really take off. And then it has to be better than the centralized solution for people to ever want to change. If you got a social media platform or YouTube or something like that that's centralized, that works well, why would anybody leave it unless something else is better, right? Something that's, it's easier for the user. They get more something out of it. It offers more, does more, things like that. And I don't think we'll ever get there fully decentralized. So that's why I think there needs to be a little trade-off. And some of the purists, they disagree with that. But people that keep an open mind and want this to really work, I think they'll agree with me.
Okay. What new features have you recently introduced through the Monarch Marketplace?
Yeah, so we just created a token swap mechanism within the wallet for people that have been participating in our bounties that had promotional tokens. So we just did that. We just created a let's see, what is it? It's a registration form for people that had participated in other bounties that we had, to where they can just automatically claim their tokens right there on the site. That was just last week alone. And then this week, we're dropping the world's first decentralized reoccurring payment mechanism. So people from all over the world will be able to set up reoccurring payments right there, from their desktop computer. Say they're a small business, they offer some kind of service to people. They charge $9 a month for whatever that service is. People anywhere in the world can just grab that hash, and then right out of their decentralized cold storage wallet, they'll be able to turn on and turn off the ability for payments to be taken out of their wallet, and for the merchant, to receive the payments. So it's really it's really cool stuff. Nobody's ever done it. We're the first to do it, as far as I know, and it'll be live. Right now, we're just beta testing the crap out of it, and we should be able to have it out there live for everybody next week. So
That's
that's
fantastic.
incredible.
Now,
Yeah.
one of the things that you had said earlier is this idea of creating like a universal KYC. Is this a new product or a new offering that is offered through Monarch? And how has that been received by others who want to actually access that tool?
Yeah, so that's done all in house. It's already implemented. Most everything that I've told you about, this isn't like forward, thinking or forward facing. This is all done now. So everything I mentioned, is live now. It's not. We're not one of those projects that just talk about stuff and keep talking about stuff. I talk about it after we've done it. And
Right.
so basically, every single thing that I told you there is live today, except the reoccurring payments. That'll be live, like I said, in probably the next week. We got to make sure that it's 100%. We've tested the crap out of it. We've had, some of the best smart contract auditors in the world, try to break it, to hack it, you name it. And, check the code, of course, and just the bugs. And we're about there. So next week we should have that. But but yeah, that's it's as far as the universal KYC, it's live now. People, our partners love it, our users love it. As much as they can. People hate the idea of
Of
KYC,
course
but
they
they
do.
love the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love the idea of only having to do it once, though. If they got to do it and they have to have KYC to access services, they'd much rather do it just one time versus hundreds of times, which gets really really old. So it's been very well received from both customers and partners.
This brings us up to where we are today. What's the roadmap forward for Monarch?
We're just going to keep adding the best and brightest to it. It's one of those things where, it'll never be finished, because there's always going to be, cool companies that come out that offer, awesome services. And so we'll plug those into the Monarch motor and allow, our users to have access to those services and platforms. That's why I said there's really no competitors, because our arms are open to anybody that brings value to the space. If they're a good company, they offer a great service, and they have awesome tech, then they're more than welcome to become part of the Monarch ecosystem, the Monarch Marketplace, and have access to our users, and our users access to them if our users so choose.
Well, there's two features that a lot of people have been talking about and gotten a lot of mind share, at least from the people I've been exposed to. And the first is, of course, is on crypto loans, and the second one is actually to have either an STO or an ICO or an IEO platform launchpad. Is Monarch is there plans for implementation of those features a part of the Monarch future?
Indeed, yeah. So our partner is Celsius. We already offer the interest side of things in the Monarch Wallet, for them, for our users, so people can earn interest on their crypto if they're approved, part of the U.S. or part of the world where they're covered. Loans is the next implementation of the Celsius service that we'll be adding, and then you had mentioned the ICO, the STO platforms.
Yeah.
We already have that built out. So we acquired a broker dealer license, and we're waiting for FINRA and SEC approval, like so many other people. So we've already built it; it's ready to go. We've already got SpaceX that we have those tokens that basically they're SpaceX shares that are purchased by a bank and then tokenized and then offered through our platform to accredited investors to be able to purchase them. And we'll be able to launch that, once we get our BD finalized, hopefully sooner rather than later with FINRA and the SEC and all those guys. So all that stuff's built. It's ready to go. We're just waiting on, legal approval and all that kind of good stuff.
That's always the process. We need to now take a small break. We're forever grateful to our corporate sponsors. The sponsor who's been with us since the launch of the Blockchain 360 podcast is the Blockchain Academy. The Blockchain Academy is a global leader in blockchain training. Their latest initiative is the 10K Blockchain Developers Training Initiative. The Blockchain Academy is seeking to train 10,000 developers on Hyperledger Fabric, Hyperledger Sawtooth, Corda, and EOS. Enterprises and developers can learn more about their comprehensive boot camps by visiting their websites at theblockchainacademy.com/10KBDI. We'll now return to our podcast. Tell me a little bit about your team. Who are the major players in Monarch?
Sure. So, the co-founder is Snaybot. He's a nuclear engineer, programmer. He created and owned, still does Cryptosomniac, which helped over 70 different ICOs, grow legs and get adoption. We've got some of the best and brightest, programmers on the team that range from like David Zembeck, the creator of the smart contract, the creator of the PEG, first real estate transaction on the blockchain. We've got like Bob Cornish. He's one of the best attorneys on the planet for, like a SEC and blockchain. He helped get all those Wyoming initiatives or blockchain initiatives, through. We've got the co-founder of LinkedIn, Eric Lee, on our team. We've got Roger Ver from Bitcoin.com. One of the first Bitcoin evangelists on our team.
Actually, Roger has been a guest on the Blockchain 360. And so has
he's
been
an
the
incredible
president of Celsius. So,
Alex Mashinsky.
Yes.
Yeah, he's one of our partners. Yeah,
that's great. So, what's the relationship of Monarch to your development firm, Splash Factory?
Yeah, so basically it's built by Splash Factory, which is a company that I own. in part with Uriah Faber, the California kid, one of my best buddies from the UFC.
Now, it's easy enough for people just to go to the website, which is monarchwallet.com, and just download the wallet right there.
Yeah, you can do that. You can go straight to just monarchwallet.com, hit the little download tab, and you can download it. It has links there to the Google or Apple store, or you can download it right from the website for your desktop or for Mac, your MacBook or Apple devices, all that kind of good stuff.
Sure. Now, switching gears a little bit, you're a philanthropist and an educator in the blockchain and crypto space. Can you talk a little bit about the people and the projects you support and some of your thoughts about giving back to the industry?
I mean, as far as just giving back, I try to do that in every video, right? So we give away $100 of Bitcoin Cash to people when, like for instance, the book that I wrote back in 2009, you mentioned, all the money, went to charity. I went to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I didn't take any money from that at all. And then when we decided to put our toes into the water, for the political arena, we took it off the shelf. So that way people didn't think we were trying to promote sales or something
Right.
through, running for office. So I don't think we ever put it back on the market. But I mean, as far as projects we support, basically, I mean, anybody in blockchain that brings value. I mean, I'm not one of those guys that is a tribalist where it's, one or the other. I mean, if you look at the people that we interview, I mean, if you look at, our friends and our partners, they all have their own different projects. They all have, different values and different services that they offer to their communities and to the world. And so, basically, I support a lot of people out there. Obviously, people that are in it for the wrong reasons are not going to get my support. But people that are just out there trying to do cool stuff for the community, they're always going to have my support, regardless of even if they're a so-called quote unquote competitor. Right? I'm still going to help them. I mean. Our co-founder wrote the white paper to Trust Wallet, so I mean, it's just one of those things. It's a small community, and we got to basically we're stronger together. So I'm always trying to support anybody that brings value or legitimacy to the space.
Right. What do you predict the industry is going to do in the next few years as it relates to blockchain? And where do you think, as a follow-up to that, would be what industry sectors are going to be probably the earlier adopters and should have profound impact, I think?
Gotcha. So, I mean, in general, nobody really knows where this is going in the next few years. I mean, you saw the Treasury Secretary Mnuchin yesterday get on and basically give a press conference about Libre, cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin.
Right.
Which is great. It brings legitimacy to the space. People that were, wondering about this thing called cryptocurrency, they just got it, front and center. And so I think we can agree that cryptocurrencies are here to stay. Bitcoin is incredible. And one of the things that we just don't know yet is regulation. With Facebook coming in, they basically started a war. They started a war to replace, the dollar. That's the way they see it. Make no mistake. They see this as, a competition for the dollar. And so the Fed, the powers to be, they don't want this to happen. They're going to make them jump through all kinds of regulations and regulations and hoops and all kinds of stuff that they're going to have to go through. And so this is going to be a task. This isn't going to be something that happens overnight. And a lot of people in crypto are going to let Facebook and people like what is the other one? It's I'm drawing a blank here. It's not WeChat. It's Kick, right? They're going to let those guys go in there and Ken and Kick. They're going to let those guys go in there and fight these battles and bring clarity, to the space, because so many people here just, they don't know what's up. They don't know, if what they're doing is right or wrong. They need clarity, and so this is going to bring a lot of clarity over the next couple of years. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but as far as like use cases and things like that, well, the U.S. is huge. I mean, obviously, there's other places in the world that are embracing it, and that's going to help with adoption. That's going to help, use cases in those countries that adopt blockchain and make it an easier place for people to use and to have access to it. I think are going to flourish during this time. The best use cases I can think of, though, initially is money, right? So that was the initial, concept was peer-to-peer electronic cash from Satoshi's white paper, and so I would imagine that's where you're going to see it take off. That's where we've already seen the most traction. And then from there, you could stop. I mean, you could basically stop if you just created some kind of awesome currency that is stable, that you don't have to worry about hyperinflation and crazy governments and all kinds of, weird stuff. If that was all that it did, that would be incredible. But I think that there's going to be other use cases too. Like, so you're going to, obviously use it in finances. You could use it in healthcare. You could use it for, like logistics, or just like, farm to fork type things, being able to track your foods, being able to track, medicines and vaccines, and see exactly where it originated from, how long it's been in transit, where is it at now, who signed off on it. This basically blockchain of immutability, things you can't tamper with, anything like that, where you want that. I think this could be incredible for. But then there's a lot of, generic use cases with it, really you shouldn't use blockchain for. You should just use a database. But I would imagine that, just to kind of circle back, the first use is going to be cash, and then from there, where people want to, put things out there for forever, right? Things like real estate, things like maybe medical records, but those would be private blockchains. So I think you're going to see a combination of all kinds of cool stuff come in the future, but we're probably still a few years away from, using it in our daily lives.
Aside from Bitcoin, do you think that there's any killer application that blockchain has brought forward? Something that is more profound?
So you mean, I mean, Bitcoin was, it's the OG, right? So you could argue whether it's still Bitcoin, or if Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin.
Right.
There's definitely that argument. But I mean, other than just peer-to-peer cash, I mean, that is to me the killer app. I mean, they basically allowed for frictionless payments globally, anywhere in the world, without the need of a third party. To me, that is the killer app right now. Obviously, people have other ideas. They think that it will, I guess, be more than that. But think about it. If you can't pay for goods or services, how can you live?
True.
Now, just from anywhere in the world, you can download the Monarch Wallet, have access to, to Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or Stellar or anything, Ethereum, and basically pay for whatever you need and be able to live without, anything other than a cell phone, right? So, and you could actually just memorize the seed, and you could take your money across any border anywhere in the world just by remembering 12 little words in your
Right.
head, and then when you have access to a phone again, you'd have all your funds again. I mean, to me, that is kind of the killer app, because you need money to live. I don't care, being nice to people is great, and love is awesome, but you can't pay the bills with either one of those
Right.
things. And so with crypto, you can. So
Well,
to me, that just kind of seems like the killer
that's
app.
the lubrication for all transactions. Do you think, I mean, you brought up Facebook Libre. Do you think it'll even see the light of day, or is it just going to be used to actually create a uniform and standard framework for people to actually work in? I mean, as you pointed out, I don't think that the Federal Reserve is highly incentivized to not let it see the light of day. But do you think that they'll be able to give them at least some point at which Facebook and its partners will be able to actually say, you know what, we've met all your requirements, and so now we're going to actually release this?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I do believe Facebook is going to be successful. I think that they tried once before with electronic cash, and for whatever reason, it didn't take off. Maybe they were too early. Timing is, 99% of things, right? So now with Libra, they have the team, they have the infrastructure, they definitely have the money. It seems like they got the expertise on the team, so I do believe it will go ahead. And I think they're just going to have to go through this, this long, arduous task of, making the regulators happy, or giving enough control to the regulators to regulate it, right, and to feel like they're not being left out. Or maybe it can only be used within their own ecosystem, or maybe it has to be backed by assets and securities initially, or maybe, who knows? I believe I read that there's a $1 million a day fine from the federal government if you act as a money transmitter and you're not properly licensed to do it, or something along those lines. Don't quote me exactly, but I believe there's like $1 million a day
Right.
fine.
That
So
just
in
came out in the
theory,
news, I think, yesterday. So
yeah. So in theory, Facebook could launch Libra and just pay, $1 million a day as a tax.
right,
That's not going to hurt them at all. $365 million to, one company would be a lot of money, but to them, that might be like
it's a
1%,
rounding error. Yeah.
2%. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to go forward. I just think it's going to take time, and what we see in the end may not be, what it started out as, but I definitely think that they're going to get there eventually.
Well, Facebook isn't the only technology company. Do you think Amazon? I mean, to me, these other tech companies are going to sit back and say, well, if Facebook can do it, why can't I? I mean, Amazon would be a natural place to actually have their own coin. What about Google? I mean, Apple has just recently partnered with Goldman Sachs and created the Apple Wallet, actually the Apple credit card. Do you think that these other technology firms are going to step up and say, you know what, I can do this too?
You better believe it. Yeah, they're all going to. The only thing that I would say I may disagree with you a little bit on is Amazon. They may create their own coin. They may. But Jeff Bezos is very, very smart. And I think he's looking at the bigger play. I think he wants to be the guy that offers all the AWS services, all the server
Sure.
services to all these cryptocurrency companies, kind of like what he does for the CIA and for all these big businesses around the world now. I think he wants to be blockchain agnostic. I could be wrong, but if he creates his own rival cryptocurrency, that's going to upset, some of these big guys
Right.
out there. If he just opens his arms to people and says, come build here, come put your tech here, come put your blockchains here, use our servers, I think he's going to make a lot more money. But again, he may eventually, create some kind of crypto that's used within Amazon, but I think he's going to find it to be a lot better if he just uses other people's cryptos within his, within Amazon, and then houses those blockchains within his servers. I think that would be a much bigger play for him.
Do you think that the other competitors to AWS, IBM, Microsoft, Oracle, HP, these blockchains as a service, do you think that they're going to try to step into that, or do you think they even have a chance against AWS in terms of supporting these blockchain infrastructure, creating these blockchain infrastructures for other companies to use?
Yeah, I think you're going to see, a lot of all of that, especially as people, they try to find, where they belong in the space and where they can make money. I think you're going to see a lot of people different, experiment with a lot of different things, just like IBM. They have a crap ton of patents, right? Crap ton of patents. They're building blockchains, in conjunction with Ethereum. They're doing all kinds of things. So I think as time goes on, you're going to see a lot of people try different things. Some of it's going to work, some of it's not. But I think Amazon has shown more often than not, they're usually the guys that prevail in the end, especially on plays like this.
You've mentioned, of course, the Bitcoin blockchain. You've mentioned Ethereum. Do you think that the Ethereum blockchain, which was originally designed to be the world computer, um, do you think it has the staying power to actually survive as a blockchain, or do you think any of these startup companies, like EOS is a perfect example, do you think that the generational aspect of the technology is going to displace some of these early innovators? I mean, early pioneers. I mean, I'm thinking back to spreadsheets and how VisiCal went to Lotus, and then from Lotus it went over to Excel, and those were three separate companies. Do you think that we're going to see that type of migration on some of these blockchains? And do you think that any of these blockchains don't have the capacity to actually expand to meet future demands?
Yes to all of it.
Okay.
So I think the stuff, I think I think the stuff that we see today is going to be much different tomorrow, and people that we thought were never going to disappear will, and then people that we think are going to make it on their own, they won't. They're going to end up merging with somebody else. So to take Ethereum for example, I think that they've got one of the biggest development communities in the world, and they have an amazing chance at surviving and thriving and creating something really, really cool for people. But if you saw Vitalik recently, I think yesterday or the day before, came out and said that to solve the temporary scalability problem, at least in the beginning, well, it's not really the beginning, it's years into this, but he says to temporarily solve the scalability problem, he wants to basically use the Bitcoin Cash network. So basically use the Bitcoin Cash blockchain to work in conjunction with Ethereum. So basically the two would join up to allow for scalability. So things like that, like you were talking about, one fish eating the other, or just people coming together and kind of marrying projects together. I think we're going to see a lot of that in the future, and things that we thought were never going anywhere, I think will just disappear.
Roger Ver will
So
like that.
it's going to be exciting. Oh yeah, yeah. Roger's
He's a
incredible.
great guy.
So
Do you, the Monarch platform, I mean, there's 2,300-ish type cryptos out of there. How many does Monarch platform actually support? A
A
ton.
ton. So we've got, yeah, so all ERC20s. So
So
there's
just about all of them
thousands
then.
and thousands, all the ERC20s, all the SLP tokens, your Bitcoin Cash, your Ethereum, your Ripple, your GoChain, your Stellar. What else do we got? We're adding Neo and all NP5 like in the next couple weeks. I think we drop Litecoin this week. So we'll be adding Tron and EOS here shortly. So a lot of the major chains, and then of course all the token support.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on to Blockchain 360 and sharing not only your background, but also your thoughts about the current environment that we're in. Um, for those people who want to know more about Robert, they can go to the show notes and where he has his website, of course, which is monarchwallet.io. And you're also sharing, you also can access his Twitter account for both Monarch token and for him personally. And we'll also be putting in your YouTube channel. Thank you again for appearing on the Blockchain 360.
Hey, I appreciate you, Brian. God bless, and we'll talk with you soon.
The Blockchain 360 podcast is produced weekly. Have a question? Want us to interview someone specific? Wish to hear about a particular topic? Let us know. You can email me at bryant.nielsen@blockchain360.co or tweet us on Twitter @blockchain360 or at our website blockchain360.co.